I'm Robert, and this is my Catholic Witness. My name is Robert McLean. I live in Huntington Beach, California. I've been married almost 13 years. Married my best friend. And we have 3 kids and 1 on the way, 11, 9, and 6, and then a newborn due in September. And I'm a real estate agent here. My faith as a child was brought up in a traditional Catholic, Italian Catholic household. You know, you always went to church. You didn't talk or mess around in church. You would just mind yourself. Didn't ask a lot of questions. Everything was, that's just the way it is. You feared of, if I did anything wrong, God would punish me, you know. So that was the way that my mom, you know, presented it to me. And you know, when I went through religious ed, or back when they called it CCD, that was kind of how it was. You know, God was this over empowering thing, and don't you dare do anything wrong, and you know, the wrath of God and all that type of stuff. So I just, more of a fear of God, the fear of doing anything wrong. And when I went to high school, I went to an all-boy Catholic high school, and the priests were the teachers a lot of times, and the nuns, and you got to interact with them just like you would, you know, your friend's parents or anything like that. And you got to realize that they're just like you and me, really, you know. And I had conversations with them. You could talk to them. You know, they like things that you like in sports and stuff like that. And that became a much more humanistic, much more, you know, everyday person, and it became more comforting, someone you can talk to and go to, you know, in times of need and stuff like that. You know, you kind of feel like, since the faith wasn't something that was there to always reprimand you, it was there to help you. So, you know, between youth group and, you know, being able to talk to priests as, you know, you were having hard times, you know, at home and stuff like that, it became much more, you know, that Jesus was there to really help you and guide you more than reprimand you or get mad at you for things that you did or didn't do, you know. I mean, you know, after religious ed, it's like, okay, what do you do now? So, you know, the youth group, I immediately took to, and it wasn't very big, maybe 20 of us or so, but it was, you know, a faith journey together. But you know, we were all being the same age. You're all kind of going through the same types of things through high school, and the same questions and the same, you know, tribulations. And you could talk to each other, and then come together on Sunday nights and, you know, ask questions and, you know, search for answers in the Bible, search for answers, you know, through the catechism, and kind of work through it that way. And that really helps. I mean, it breaks it down in a way that's you can understand. You know, it's not this Latin language that was written and you're like, what does that mean? So, you know, you really start to go, oh, that's what they're saying. Oh, that's what they mean. And so that was huge.
Good.
My mom is the one that ingrained my Catholic faith. You know, she was just blindly Catholic, you know, just, you know, don't ask her any questions, you know, but she's just like 100% Catholic. That's what you are. That's what you do. That's what we do. And, you know, there's nothing else. But I guess who made the big turn for me was, you know, was high school. The principal at my high school, you know, Father Nick Reyna. While I was going through some tough times in high school, I could go talk to him, and he would, understand and was compassionate and helped me out. And that was, I mean, to have that was just incredible. So that was, when I really knew that, what the faith was all about and what it meant and stuff like that. His compassion and understanding for, for the boys at the school, but his love and his warmth, and you could tell. I mean, he truly lived his faith, and what Jesus teaches us to do, and it was just something that you looked up to, and you're like, I want to be like that. So that was everything. Yeah, probably marriage is probably the big one. When I was 23 years old, I remember going to my mom, and I said, Mom, do you think I'll ever find somebody? Because I dated here and there, but if they don't share your same faith or your same beliefs, it really doesn't go anywhere, And so and so she goes, someday you will. And I was going to Golden West College. The semester started in January, and I was sitting in the back of the classroom, and I was just sitting there waiting for the teacher to come in, and I heard Gina talk to someone else in the room, talking about how she was Catholic. And I looked up and I looked over and I said, "Who said that? Who said that?" And I said, "Oh wow, is she Catholic? Wow, pretty and Catholic. I got to find out more about this girl." As soon as we started talking, for the next few months, it was just like our Catholic faith was everything. I mean, we just had so much in common, and we everything that was important in our faith was important to both of us. And that was just huge. So I think that when we got married 8 years later, it was just that amazing appreciation, to God. It's like, wow, this is, if you start to realize it's not your time. You've got to, be patient and understand that God has a plan, and you don't understand when or where or how or why, but He has a plan. And so I think that, as we were getting married, as we were going through that sacrament, that was just so important to both of us. So when we got married, it was, here it is. This is where it's brought us both together and to God all at the same time. And, this is what we're going to do for the rest of our lives. And it's just amazing that something so beautiful like that could happen. You don't realize it as you're dating and going through it, but as you come together that day, it's incredible. As you get busy, it can be stressful. Two people working, and you have kids, and you do all that type of stuff, and then sometimes you'll get short with each other, but you have that feeling inside that this is, we're doing this together, and in that, even though you get short with each other, you come back and you apologize and you ask for forgiveness, and you're just like, this is the beauty of it. This is why we found each other. This is why we're married. It's weird. It's like sometimes, especially in the, when the times are really tough and hard, if you search out God and you ask Him, I was like, okay, what is it that you're asking me to do? What and you almost feel like a calmness come over you, and you go, and if you just be quiet and listen for a moment, He'll tell you. It's like, okay, you need to, be quiet now, or you need to go apologize now, or you guys need to come together now, and you need to talk now. And you kind of gotta let go. You know what I mean? And if you really trust and you really love, that just comes out, and it's incredible. Just absolutely incredible. In high school, struggled. My dad wasn't really in the picture, and I struggled with a relationship with my mom. But I truly cherished my faith, and I thought at that moment that I wanted to be a priest. I mean, I thought that was the direction I was going, and that's what brought me calm and peace and understanding, and what I really, started to cherish. But something inside, was I wanted kids. I wanted to be able to raise kids, teach kids, and stuff like that. So I felt that was a stronger, pull to do that. And so I think that, that's what I searched out. Was that I think that was really what I was asked the call to do. And I think sometimes you in this world you want to affect change, and you want to show people what you know, because you're so happy with what and whether it be your faith or whatever. And I just felt like being able to do that with your own children, to teach them, not just sports and all the things about life, but your faith, and to bring it all together. I just felt called to do that. I was like, this is what I really want to do. I want to bring up, kids in the world and teach them and have them experience this, beautiful thing. So, we do religious ed, and we, say prayers and do that during the day. But for me, it's a constant teaching throughout the day of what is the right thing. So there's a part of it inside you that knows, but sometimes, especially as a child, you need to have the child, instead of looking like this, look at the the vastness and the big picture of it all. And so that showing them through the day, instead of looking, hey, do you notice this person over here that needs the door open? Do you notice this person over here that needs help, with their groceries? You need, so it's this, what would Jesus do? What are we being called to do? What are we, what is the right thing to do? What is this path? And it's just these little tidbits, through the day that, and the relationship with each other, it's like, okay, why are you arguing? What is that importance? What is God asking you to do? What have you learned in religious ed? What has your mom and dad taught you? So it's all those little moments. I think that that you're trying to teach and make them into the best person, Catholic, that they can be.
Do you feel ever like as a Catholic real estate agent that's a way to serve others?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that the greatest example of being a Catholic is to allow others to see you in action. And so, in my business, it can be, I don't know, cutthroat, or it can be, very competitive, and people are so driven by money, but that is their goal. And I think that, I strive so hard to, show the best example that it doesn't need to be that way. That there's a win-win-win for everybody. And if you just do the right thing and you're honest and you're and you do what's best for the others, everybody can win in your job and what you do. And I think I try to show that example as much as I can, so that other real estate agents or people can see that it doesn't have to just be going after the almighty dollar. So right before starting my senior year in high school, my brother got paralyzed in the military in Italy. And so my mom flew out, and I had to take care of my sister, who was a couple years younger than me. And then he came here to Long Beach, and then And so I didn't get to go into my senior year in high school. I had to take care of him. I had to work. And then March of the following year, my dad had passed away. So that was a very, that's one of those things where just too much happens at the same time. You know, it was a huge, exhausting burden. And you wonder why, you don't understand, you can't figure it out. And so that was an extremely tense time, to where really the only thing I could do, I mean, it was probably about 9 months of really doubting everything. And then I just came to the realization you just can't do it on your own. And so, you know, I turned even closer to Jesus and I said, okay, guide me, because I can't figure this out. I don't know what you want me to do or where we're going with this, but you obviously have some kind of plan, and you're gonna have to carry me because I can't figure this out. So I think that was probably one of the most challenging times to try to figure out. You know, through it all for the next 4 or 5 years, you know, that was what brought me peace and kept me sane, is, you know, just him, you know, knowing that, trusting him, relying on him, just, you know, to guide me and to show me what he wants me to do, and it worked out. You know, Catholics don't do a very good job of showing their outward faith. You know, we go to church, everybody sits in the back of the church, and then once they leave, they don't really talk about it, they don't really show it. So every once in a while, I mean, most people don't even know if their neighbor is Catholic or not. You know, you have no idea. So, you know, every Ash Wednesday, I mean, there's an outward sign. You know, and all of a sudden you go to school to pick up the kids and you're like, oh, I didn't know they were Catholic. But what always blows my mind is when you're watching the news and they have ashes on, and you're like, wow, I've watched this person on Fox News for the last 8 years. They've never mentioned anything about it, but now you know, all of a sudden you see them on Ash Wednesday, they have ashes. You're like, wow, that is totally surprising. So I think, you know, that is one of the few things as a Catholic that we can do outwardly, where all of a sudden you're like, whoa, you know, there are a lot of Catholics out there, you know, but I had no idea. It truly is hard. It's difficult in such a secular world to have an outward show of your faith, because you don't know how the other person is going to take it. You know, you don't know if they're going to push you away. You don't know if they're going to look at you differently. So you tend not to. It's one of those lines, you know, you're not supposed to talk about politics or, you know, your faith. And so, you know, to have anything outward that's Catholic, I love all that stuff. A lot of the outward world looks at the Catholic Church as a very closed in, you know, you have to be Catholic to be saved. You have to be Catholic, you know, to experience any of this, that you know, this true, you know, Jesus and the true, you know, and so I think that, you know, I wish that the message could be stronger to the outward world. It's not like that. It's not some closed off, unwelcoming faith at all, you know, and it's not a judging faith. And I think that's another one thing. They think that, oh, well, you know, if I go, they're going to judge me and they're going to, you know, look down on me. And it's not. It's a wonderful, warm, welcoming, forgiving, understanding faith. It truly is. And I mean, if you read the New Testament, you look at Jesus, that's how he was. And that is how our faith is. And I just wish that perception would change, you know, and that would be my message, you know, whenever I talk to people about that, and I try to get that message across, you know, we're not judging, you know, come. Everybody's welcome. You know, no one's gonna judge you. No one's gonna think twice about you. You know, so I think that would be the message.